The Jeffrey Epstein topic has taken over the internet recently. Donald Trump is in a fit of panic trying to work out and trying to, cover everything up as best he can. It's time for Donald Trump to come clean about the truth and everything that is going on, because the elites right now seem to be using the victims as a shield to try and protect themselves. I've made a series of videos so far kind of going over the released footage from the DOJ and the FBI, which was supposed to prove the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, in no way was there any foul play or malice towards Jeffrey Epstein, and absolutely what happened with him was, completely by his own accord, right, by taking his own life, for example. But the footage shows anything but. The footage showed a cell block, which didn't even show Jeffrey Epstein's cell, and it had a minute of footage missing. 1 minute and 2 seconds of footage was missing, and it looked like there was a hard cut and a pan in, which has, raised some very serious eyebrows about what on earth is actually going on here. But now we've had a really interesting episode dropped from News Nation, right? And it comes from an inmate that has been interviewed, who was held in the exact same cell as Jeffrey Epstein, and claims that he could not have killed himself at all. That was not a possibility. Let's take a little listen to this, because obviously this could be absolutely huge and completely undo all of the hard work that the DOJ and the FBI have been trying to, cover up over the past 2 weeks, and Donald Trump is absolutely shitting bricks about right now.
Okay, I'm joined now by someone, and this is interesting, with intimate knowledge of the very jail cell Epstein died in. Michael Francis, he was a capo for the Colombo crime family in the 1980s. He served time in the exact cell where Epstein was later held. Michael, welcome back to the program. Tell us about that cell, and what do you make of these revelations that there is a minute missing from the surveillance video, Michael?
Well, listen, I spent 7 months on that tier and in those cells. And the first thing I have to say, there's no way you are able to commit suicide. There's just no way. There's no way to hang yourself. There's nothing from the ceiling. There's nothing from the bed. You'd have to be a midget and work really hard to try to hang yourself. And I don't think you can accomplish it at that point. As far as the cameras being off, I haven't experienced that. I did 8 years in prison, and I haven't experienced cameras being broken in the perfect storm of correctional officers not walking those cells. They walk in and they look in on you all the time.
Now, obviously, this was the narrative that was played by the DOJ and the FBI from the files, right? Was that the correctional officers fell asleep on the night that he, passed away. So everyone was put in their cells by 8 p.m. Doors were locked, lights out, right? That was it, 8 p.m. And between 10:40 p.m. and 6:30 a.m., Jeffrey Epstein was not checked on, right? Apparently, on that specific night. But we can see footage of someone in an orange, what looks to be an orange jumpsuit, similar to that of what was worn in the prison, kind of comes into frame on the footage at around 10:30 p.m., which is obviously 2.5 hours after everyone was supposed to be locked away under lock and key, and, that was it, job done for the night. And then we see a correctional officer sprint across the room. Now, that's that part. With regards to the footage, obviously Pam Bondi was questioned about this with Donald Trump, who tried to shut it down really quickly. Pam Bondi turned around and stated, no, this is because this is a dated camera system. Every single night there is a hard reset at 11:59 until midnight, and then the camera resets for 1 minute. Apparently that happens every single night, and they are working with the FBI to release more footage to prove this. That footage has not yet come to fruition. This guy obviously is turning around and stating, it's a perfect alibi. It's just the right thing to say because no one can prove otherwise.
As a matter of fact, sometimes it's embarrassing to go to the toilet because they're walking past you and looking in the cell constantly. So I've said this from day one. I do not believe it was suicide. I can't talk about what happened to him, but I don't believe it was a suicide because you just couldn't physically do it. It would be almost impossible to do it. So that's number one.
It must be
and I got to tell
interesting,
you,
Michael, when you look at the video, though, it must be interesting because you know the area. I mean, we all look at this and it just looks like a prison, but this must look very familiar to you.
absolutely, very familiar. And the fact that a minute is missing, look, everything around this guy. I just did a very deep dive into him, which I'll be releasing on my platform in the next several days. Look, there's no way that this person operated alone. Look, they have the videos. Alan Dershowitz recently said that he saw the client list, but because there's people that he can't, because he's an attorney, he can't, reveal what he saw. But he said he saw the client list. He's demanding that it be released. To think that there's no flight logs, that there's no client list, that the thousands of recordings that they had, because I found out for sure that he had cameras on every bedroom, recording everything, and all of a sudden all of it is gone. I mean, none of this makes sense. And look, the only reason it's important, it's not that anybody's trying to say, come on, this guy was a creep. And there was young women involved in this, young girls that were trafficked and abused. I have 5 daughters and I have granddaughters, and I just don't like it. And anybody that's involved in this should be held accountable. I recently interviewed Paul Hutchinson, who was...
Now, I'm just going to pause it there because obviously along the bottom here it says DOJ and FBI, no list, no blackmail, no murder. So obviously this is the contention that we're talking about right here. But with regards to this, Pam Bondi stated that there was no list, and so has everyone else. But Pam Bondi has also stated that a list was sat on her desk ready for review. So where's that list now? And then the no blackmail. It's been confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein attempted to actually blackmail the owner of Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft. So obviously there was an attempted blackmail. So again, more lies from the DOJ and the FBI, and it's just an absolute shit show.
A major figure in the Sound of Freedom. He was one of the ones that went to rescue, I think, 51 or 52 of these young girls and young boys that were being exploited and trafficked. I mean, this has got to stop. And if these people are not held accountable, it's just going to continue. And unfortunately, it seems like it's people with power and money. It seems that, from what my investigation, that this Les Wexner was the first one that Epstein was able to bribe. And, there's a lot of stuff here that needs to come out, and it's really shameful if it doesn't. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But as far as the jail cell, no way there was a source.
I want to go back to the jail cell because you lived in that jail cell. And just real quick, again, tell me, would you have the privacy in that jail cell to take your own life?
Not only would you not have the privacy, I don't understand how you would be able to do it. You have to hang yourself from something. There's nothing on the ceiling that you can hang a bed sheet on. The bed is not that high. I mean, you have to try to lay down on the floor in some way because Jeffrey Epstein was a fairly big guy. You'd have to be a midget to even try to hang yourself. So it's not a question of not only are there cameras on are the COs walking the tier constantly, especially from what I understand, Jeffrey Epstein was on suicide watch for a while. They watch you very, very closely. Trust me on that. So I just can't buy it. I cannot buy it. I'm sorry. And I have no horse in this race other than my experience and the fact that I just couldn't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we appreciate you coming on tonight, Michael. We appreciate your perspective, especially as someone who's been in that exact cell. Thank you so much, sir.
Obviously, does this mean that he didn't actually do it? No, but we do have to kind of preface that and state that this isn't categorical proof that, there was foul play involved. But it's closer to the truth than we've had from anyone of, reputable source, whether that be the FBI, the DOJ, or even President Donald Trump himself or his party, right? Like, it's a total mess. This entire situation is a total mess. What do you guys think about it? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll try and keep you as up to date as I can. And until next time, peace.